Whew. Y'all know what today is, right? Y'all gotta know what today is. Today is April 23rd, 2020. Officially draft day, baby. Officially NFL draft. I know a bunch of people excited. You know, Joe Burrow's probably going first. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, hey, it's draft day, right? A lot of young men are going to... dreams are going to be changed, right? Their lives are going to be changed. Their dreams are finally going to come true, and they're going to be professional athletes in the NFL, right? Almost every little kid dreams of getting to the league, right? Whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever it is, a lot of kids dream of that, right? And today is the day that all the hard work pays off, and they reach that. They reach that milestone and meet that goal, right? But the true reality of it is, unfortunately, just like a lot of people are gonna, hear their name called, there's so many more that's not, right? And that's just the reality of it. There's so many more kids, young men, dreams are gonna be crushed tonight, in this week. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of it, right? Everybody can't hear their name called. So some people are gonna be disappointed, very disappointed. Some people are gonna be angry. Some people are gonna be bitter. If I'm being completely honest, I understand the feeling. Especially coming from a small school, you look at all these big names, and a lot of them, if we being honest, a lot of them ain't really that good, right? They just went to a big school and they got the hype. They looked the part, right? But, not hearing your name called, you can get bitter. You know what I mean? You can be angry. You can be mad. You can be mad at yourself. You can be asking yourself, what more could I have done? You can be even mad at God. That's some real things. I know a lot of times, when we experience in life and things don't really turn out how we want it, our first instinct is kind of get mad at God, right? Why didn't this work out? I did what you said. I worked out. I made the sacrifices. I was staying for this. I did this. I did this. Why didn't it work out? And we tend to get mad at God, but we fail to always keep in perspective that he sees the whole board, right? He sees the whole board of our lives. He doesn't just see one moment, right? And the reality of it is sometimes God needs to break us, to break our dreams or our perspective of our dreams or what we have envisioned for our lives in order so we can live and be fulfilled and complete our destiny for the lives that he has for us, right? And the lives he has awaiting for us, right? That's just the reality of it. I know from personal experience, I've experienced that firsthand, right? I know what it is to work, and I mean work, right? 3, 4, 5 times a day, grinding, sacrificing, staying from this, eating, doing everything possible, right? To position myself for that dream to come to pass, right? And it not happening. I know exactly how that feels firsthand. So, although I'm going to be rooting and happy for a lot of young men, I'm going to understand the feeling of a lot of more young men. I'm so grateful that I was able to be obedient to his will and to be obedient to the plan that he had for my life and not just the plan I had, right? The reality of it is it's going to hit a lot of people differently, right? From a personal experience, it's going to hit a lot of people differently. And I just want to show encouragement, give y'all encouragement today that, man, God's grace is sufficient, right? God's grace is sufficient, right? So 5 years ago, right, to this exact day, 5 years ago today, was 2015, right? I just graduated, pursuing obviously a career in the NFL, working out 3, 4 times a day, stretching, meeting different trainers, working out, working on 40s, all that good stuff, right? Just really working towards that goal of just breaking into the league, right? Of course, just like any other man, I would want to get drafted, but I just wanted the opportunity, right? I just needed the opportunity to show what I got and, to try to be a part and make a team, right? Unfortunately, that didn't happen, right? Tried a CFL, didn't work out. Tried arena, didn't work out. Tried a whole bunch of different things to try to pursue that career of being a professional athlete in the NFL, right? For some way, somehow, it just did not work, right? It seemed like all the effort, all the sacrifices, all the dreams that I had was just going to waste because I couldn't understand why God put that drive into me and just have it like drop. After that, I tried to coach, at my old high school. It was cool. I loved giving back and I loved investing into the young kids. But man, it was a hard pill to swallow, right? Because when you get to the point of coaching, you're kind of making that transition of you know, this is probably going to be it for me, right? You're making that transition. It's a hard pill to swallow, but I didn't want to be one of those bitter guys that just, you know, would try to crush other young men's dreams just because mine didn't work out how I wanted to, right? So I had to pay it forward, right? But through that process of coaching, I've kind of learned for myself that I don't think this is really what God has for me, right? I don't really think that he wants me to be a coach in a traditional sense, at least not in that season of my life, right? So, you know, I prayed and I kept asking God, like, well, what do you want me to do, right? Because I'm just here now. Where do you want me? Where do you want me to have? And he told me, right, he was like, I need you to go to law school, right? And here in my mind, I know I have a lot of family that's lawyers, attorneys, but I was just like, man, I don't know about that, right? I'm really not trying to do that, right? I'm really not trying to go to law school. I'm not trying to go back to school, right? And just go through that whole process, right? From exams to the bar exam to going all through that. I was like, man, I'm kind of good with that, right? Once I decided, I was like, hey, man, you know what, God, if this is what you have for me, if this is what you want me to do, I'm going to take the steps, but you're going to have to do it, right? I was like, you're going to have to do it, but I'll take the steps, right? So, you know, studied for the LSAT, took the LSAT, got into Southern University, shout out, Law Center. And from that moment, you know, we did it. Right? Then also my spirit was challenged too, because, you know, a lot of times I found myself sitting in the class and I was like, man, like, why am I here? Bro, like, part of me just wanted to get up and walk out, right? But, you know, I was just being obedient. I was trying my best to be obedient, even though I did not want to, right? A lot of times when you're following God and you're trying to do his will, a lot of times he's going to tell you to do things that you honestly don't want to do, that you're not comfortable with, that you really don't want to do. And, you know, that you had a whole different mindset of what you wanted to do, right, in your life. Sometimes he's going to challenge that, and he's going to really see if it's about his will or is about more about your will for your life, right? So I, you know, subjected and submitted myself to his will. Even though there were so many nights, there were so many days, I was just like, man, I'm not trying to do this. I'm done with it, right? So, but I stuck it out, right? I stuck it out and I was being obedient. No matter how much my flesh wanted to just deviate from it, I was being obedient. So we went to the classes, we put the work in, we did the thing. Ended up graduating this past December, right? This past December. No short, by the grace of God, that I made it this far, because I don't really consider myself to be that intelligent to a certain extent. It's really all him. It's all him that made it through, all him. So I can't take credit for anything. So after I graduated, you know, and then comes the hard part, right? Graduation is a milestone, don't get me wrong, and it's a great feeling, but it's really about that bar exam, right? It's really about that bar exam. That bar exam is no joke at all, you know what I mean? Especially in Louisiana, right? Louisiana is said to be one of the hardest bar exams across the United States. So it's tough, right? And I have a lot of family that told me stories about their process and stuff like that. So I knew it was coming, right? I knew it was coming. When you sign up for law school, you know it's coming. I looked at it like this, right? If I could train 3-4 times a day for the NFL and working my behind off physically, right, to accomplish this, I have to come with that same intensity. You know, when God told me to do something, when God's telling me to walk in his steps, I got to come with that same enthusiasm. I have to come with that same energy. And I applied that same work that I did for the NFL. I applied it to the bar exam. You know, on April 23rd, 2015, you know, my dreams were broken. But on this exact same day, April 23rd, 2020, you know, I'm officially an Esquire now. You know what I mean? I'm officially an attorney. I passed the bar exam. So, you know, it's crazy how, like, sometimes we can have an idea or a vision of what God wants for our life, but he can give us a new vision, right? He can tell us why essentially we had to go through what we had to go through in order for us to walk in his will, right? And I don't believe in coincidences, and it's no coincidence that 5 years later, which is the number of grace, right? 5 years later, I become an Esquire, right? After my dreams have been broken, after, you know, I went through that hard process of dying to myself, essentially, you know, on the exact same day, I find out I passed the bar exam. You know, I believe, you know, that's solely a testament to God. That's all a testament to him. I can't take any credit for it. I can't take credit for graduating. I can't take credit for preparing for the bar. And I definitely can't take credit for actually sitting there in the testing center, taking the bar exam, because that was all him, right? But yeah, man, obedience is so powerful, right? Obedience and attitude and faith and work ethic, right? I think he led me to pursue the NFL because he needed me to develop some skills that was essentially I was going to need for not only this, but for the rest of my life, right? And I mean, just look at it today, like it definitely paid off, right? And it's hard, don't get me wrong, I understand it, right? I understand completely that a lot of times, you know, you don't want to do certain things, right? But in the reality of it is life, God's will is going to have you sometimes do things that you don't want to do, right? But a lesson I've learned is that it's not about you, right? It's rarely about you. It's rarely about you. I'm just grateful, right? I'm grateful that 5 years later, he took a dream that was essentially dead, right? And I was lost, and I still had faith, but it was hard for me to hope, right? It was hard for me to hope for something amazing and phenomenal and quote unquote unrealistic, right? But he allowed this path, right, of becoming an attorney to rejuvenate, you know what I mean? To restore that faith, that hope, that drive, that passion, that work ethic. Yeah, 5 years later, right? 5 years later. It's crazy because it's the exact same day as draft day. And I don't believe in coincidence, so that's definitely not a coincidence, right? So I just want to, man, give y'all encouragement, right? Like, bro, obedience to God and bending to his will and submitting to his will is not always easy, right? It's definitely not always easy, but it's necessary, right? It's necessary to grow your faith. It's necessary to grow into a man or woman that you are or that he wants you to be, right? And to become something different, right? And I believe one of the reasons why he took me through this whole path is just to tell y'all, right? It's to tell y'all and to be just to spread my testimony of, you know, how God makes everything turn around, right? Even when you feel like he's left you, right? I know you might be in a situation in a season where, you know, you're going through some things that you don't really feel like going through. You're asking God, why is this happening? Why is that happening? But man, stay strong and stay faithful, right? Stay faithful, just one day at a time, right? That's all we got to work on. That's all we got to focus on is one day at a time, one test at a time, one challenge at a time, one relationship at a time. That's all we have to focus on is one at a time and just win the day, right? Just win the day. From faith to physical, from mental to emotional, just win the day, right? And then you'll look up and then you'll see God will reveal to you why he had to do what he had to do, right? And it's going to essentially make you a better person, a better believer, a better follower, a better leader, right? I'll leave y'all with this. We have to learn how to pivot, right? We have to learn how to pivot to God's will. I know a lot of times we be laser focused on something. We'd be like, man, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. But sometimes God needs you to pivot, right? And if you don't pivot, or if you spend too much time pivoting, you can miss out on the blessings that he really has for you, right? Pivoting is not easy. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy by any sense of the word, because that means you have to die to yourself, die to your own dreams, die to your own visions, and submit to his, right? And sometimes, a lot of times, you don't know where it's going. You don't know where it's leading you, right? But you know who God is, right? You know who God is. God says in the word that, you know, he has a plan to prosper you, right? A plan to give you a future and a hope. God is a good God, right? God is not trying to it's this tyrant up in the sky that just wants to make you be miserable throughout your whole life, right? That's not, he loves you. He loves us, right? And he wants us to experience the life that he has for us, because he know that it's full of blessings, full of prosperity, full of relationships, full of so many gifts and blessings, right? However, there's a process that has to go to get there, right? We have to learn how to die to ourselves. We have to learn self-discipline. We have to learn patience, right? We have to learn tenacity. We have to learn so many different things in order to become that person, so we can experience those blessings, right? Either you're in it, you've been in it, or you will go in it, right? But so if you're in it right now, I just hope this encourages y'all to give y'all strength, right? To give y'all motivation, to give y'all inspiration, to give y'all focus you know, just stay strong and stay faithful, right? Stay strong and stay faithful. I get it. You might not see what's coming next. You might not have no idea what's coming next. If I'm being honest, I don't really know what's coming next, right? But I have faith in who has control over it, right? 5 years later, officially signing out, Christopher Harrison King, Esquire, baby.